You're listening to an iHeart podcast.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and Talkspace, the leading virtual therapy provider, is telling everyone, let's face it in therapy. By talking or texting with a supportive, licensed therapist at Talkspace, you can face whatever is holding you back, whether it's mental health symptoms, relationship drama, past trauma, bad habits, or another challenge that you need support to work through. It's easy to sign up. Just go to Talkspace.com and you'll be paired with a provider, typically within 48 hours. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule. Plus, Talkspace is in-network with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. Make your mental health a priority and start today. If you're not covered by insurance, get $80 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80. That's SPACE80. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com and enter promo code SPACE80.
Hey sis, it's Mandy Money from the Brown Ambition podcast. Are you wondering, how am I going to break free from this paycheck to paycheck life? How do I get into the stock market? Is that my 401k? Is it my HSA? What even are these things? We have y'all covered at Brown Ambition. I'm your host, Mandy Money. I'm a career and money expert. I help women start building generational wealth to get the dose of empowerment, strategy, and community that only Brown Ambition can offer. Listen to Brown Ambition on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello. From Wonder Media Network, I'm Jenny Kaplan, and this is Womanica. This month we're talking about word weavers, people who coined terms, popularized words, and even created entirely new languages. These activists, writers, artists, and scholars used language to shape ideas and give voice to experiences that once had no name. Celebrated writer Maya Angelou once said, "I have written 11 books, but each time I think, they're going to find out now." She was describing a feeling a lot of successful people experience. Accomplishments, awards, and promotions never seem to quiet the inner voice, telling them, "You aren't really talented. You're just fooling everyone into believing you are." Today's Womanican was no stranger to that feeling. In fact, she used her personal experiences as the foundation for her research into a psychological phenomenon that became widely known as imposter syndrome. Let's talk about Pauline Rose Clance. Pauline was born in 1938 in the Appalachian region of Baptist Valley in Virginia. Pauline came from a working-class background. Her father was a sawmill operator. She was the youngest and smallest of 6 children. She earned the nickname Tiny for her small stature. She was also an excellent student. Not that she saw it that way. She later recalled agonizing over her performance after every test, swearing to her mother, "I think I failed it." When she inevitably aced the exam, her family and friends would say, "Forget it. Don't pull that woe is me crap again." Eventually, people stopped taking Pauline's panic over potential failure seriously, especially since the failure never seemed to materialize. That academic success followed her into adolescence. After graduating high school, she went on to study psychology at Lynchburg College in Virginia and became the first member of her family to earn a college degree. Next, she earned a master's and then a doctorate in psychology at the University of Kentucky. But Pauline's feelings of inadequacy persisted. As an assistant professor and counselor at Oberlin College in Ohio, she began to notice that a lot of other women in academia felt the same way. Student after student would come to Pauline's office, lamenting their intellectual limitations despite impressive SAT scores and grades. One young woman confessed, "I feel like an imposter here among all these bright students." Pauline was struck by how those words echoed her experiences and decided to learn more. Pauline collaborated with her colleague, Suzanne Imes, to conduct research into why so many bright young women felt like they didn't earn their place in higher education. The duo spent the next 5 years interviewing more than 150 high-achieving women working in a variety of professions, including social work, nursing, and law. They presented their findings in the 1978 study titled The Imposter Phenomenon in High-Achieving Women, Dynamics and Therapeutic Intervention. Pauline and Suzanne explained that, quote, despite outstanding academic and professional accomplishments, Women who experience the imposter phenomenon persist in believing that they are really not bright and have fooled anyone who thinks otherwise. They found that many women find themselves in a cycle of paralyzing fear of failure, frenzied hard work, and minimal gratification after experiencing success. Pauline and Suzanne also identified two main family patterns that produced imposter phenomenon in the women they interviewed. In the first scenario, a woman might have a sibling deemed the smart one by her parents and consequently struggle to accept validation of their own intelligence and talents. In the second scenario, a woman might be told she is naturally gifted by her parents and then struggle to meet the high expectations placed on her. Someone in the second category might conceal her study habits from her parents, convinced that truly intelligent people don't need to study to ace exams. The paper initially kept getting rejected, but it quickly gained underground popularity. Pauline found herself fielding so many requests for copies of the study that the person working the copy machine in her department eventually asked, "What are you doing with all of these?" Over time, the study gained traction, and in 1985, Pauline published her book, The Imposter Phenomenon. She also developed an official scale to help other psychology researchers identify and define imposter phenomenon in their own studies. Since then, Pauline and Suzanne's initial concept of imposter phenomenon has mutated, especially since it gained a foothold across social media platforms. Today, it's usually referred to as imposter syndrome, even though it doesn't actually meet the criteria for a syndrome. Pauline doesn't love this twist on their original concept, and has since explained she and Suzanne meant to normalize imposter phenomenon as an experience, not to pathologize it. But it seems that the term imposter syndrome isn't going anywhere. Since its publication, Pauline and Suzanne's study has also faced plenty of criticism, especially from women of color who noticed that most of the women originally interviewed for the paper were white. In 2021, Ruchika Tulsian and Jodi Ann Burry published a now-famous rebuttal in Harvard Business Review. They argued that labeling women with imposter syndrome can obscure the systemic obstacles standing in the way of their success, like racism, classism, and xenophobia. Pauline and Suzanne have generally been open to these types of critiques. In the decades after her research first gained popularity, Pauline operated a private psychology practice based in Atlanta, Georgia. She, of course, specialized in helping clients identify and work through their experiences with imposter phenomenon. Today, she's in her mid-80s and is fully retired. In a 2024 interview, she gave this advice to those struggling with imposter phenomenon. Remember a success you've had. Then invite your boss in the room. What would they say? Then let someone else in, maybe your professor. Then the head of the project. Then your father, your sister. What would they say? Observe their conversation. Once the room is full, I ask you, don't you think it's interesting that you can fool so many bright people? All month, we're talking about word weavers. For more information, find us on Facebook and Instagram at Womanica Podcast. Special thanks to Liz Kaplan, my favorite sister and co-creator. Talk to you tomorrow.
At Ritual, Mother's Day is kind of a big deal, and we're celebrating accordingly. Find your ritual. If mom needs a bit of stress relief, digestive support, or is looking to support glowy, smooth skin, do it today with 40% off your first month for a limited time at ritual.com/podcast. That's RITUAL.com/podcast for 40% off your first month. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Hey, it's Jay Shetty, and I'm bringing my first ever On Purpose live tour to Washington, D.C. on May 21st, presented by Chase Sapphire Reserve. Join me and surprise guests for meaningful and insightful conversations to spark learning, experience growth, and build real connections. Chase Sapphire Reserve card members can redeem their Chase Ultimate Rewards points for VIP packages to meet me before the show, or visit jayshetty.me/tour to get your tickets.
You're listening to an iHeart podcast.